Welcome back to LimQ Plus, everyone. On this channel, I'm 100%ing Breath of the Wild by a bit every day until the sequel comes out, Tears of the Kingdom, which is in 144 days. Today, because we're doing some of the most boring Korok seeds of all time as we're getting our way closer to 33% and the first third of completion of the game, the banana Koroks, so we literally have to put down bananas, I wanted to just tell you a story. And the story I wanted to tell you is how I got into Breath of the Wild. I would like to hear from you too how you got into this game. I'm aware that this is a global hit, but I feel like everyone has their own fun, small story to share. A friend that told them, a trailer that they saw. And I'll tell you mine. So I want to rewind a little bit. Growing up, my parents were really strict about video games. I could at most play 30 minutes a day, and I'm sure there's people that had it worse, that couldn't play at all, or maybe only on weekends. I could only play 30 minutes a day. That was timed. Once the 30 minutes were over, bam, console is off, no more playing. So what I would do, because I really liked video games, is I would go to friends a lot to play games there, because they wouldn't have parents as strict when it comes to video games, and I would like doing that. And one of my friends really got me even more invested into gaming because they basically had no restrictions. We played like Wii games all the time. But even further back, they told me, yo, get a GameCube. This is the new stuff. And get that Super Smash Bros. Melee. And my parents still got me that for Christmas. A GameCube and Melee. And I also had this like Harry Potter Quidditch game, which was like actually surprisingly fun. But anyway. Not sure if anyone else played that. I got invested more and more into gaming, and I also, when the Wii came out, eventually, I guess this is more like my gaming story, but it'll make sense, okay? When the Wii came out, I also wanted the Wii. Everyone wanted the Wii, right? Wii was a big hit. I got the Wii a couple years later with Wii Sports at first, and then, eventually, on my birthday, which is January 2nd, so just after Christmas, I got The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess from my grandparents. I had played some Zelda games before briefly on like consoles that my dad owned, like an NES, and also some Game Boy games, but I kind of like being a kid, not really knowing what's going on. I just kind of like ran around and maybe discovered some things, but I don't vividly remember beating any of those games. I remember another like early friends had Ocarina of Time, we messed around on there, but none of these games really got me until Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess I had been reading on in games magazines. Back then people would read game magazines. Yeah, really unleashing the boomer on you guys right now. And it was hyped up there and it was gonna come out for GameCube and the Wii, but since I wanted the Wii anyway, I got it on the Wii. And one of my other friends, one of my closest friends back then, got it for the GameCube. And we both really liked the game. We played it a ton. Whenever, I would usually meet up with him at his place because we could play as much as we wanted there. This was when we first dived into the internet, into some like secret forums about, I mean, they were not really secret, but they were like these early forums before Reddit or anything. Maybe Reddit was around, but we didn't know. We just went to some like German Zelda forums where people were discussing glitches, or most of the time back then they called them Easter eggs. I feel like the term has been kind of lost in time. I think Easter eggs are at least kind of agreed upon things that the developers actually intended to be found or to be put in, so I guess that's where that term comes from. But anyway, we went on there and we did our first own like out of bounds glitches, and we thought it was so funny, so cool. We did something that not a lot of other people did. And I really cherish that memory. I really liked that time. I really loved that game. I loved all of the bosses. Twilight Princess before Breath of the Wild was my favorite Zelda game. Then when I grew up more, getting to like 14, 15, 16, I kind of still wanted to play games, but the restrictions of my parents was still there. I could still only play 30 minutes a day. So I got kind of annoyed of it and eventually decided that I'm gonna be like a normie for a while. Nothing against that, but just like go outside, meet real people, go to parties. Ugh, disgusting. No, I'm kidding. But did that for a while until I was like 17. And was like, okay, now I'm kind of tired of this. I'm realizing I'm not the most social person in the world, so this is not always my favorite thing to do. I kind of want to play games again. And when I was 17, eventually those restrictions from my parents finally went down a little bit. And I could basically play more games. I got back into games. I did my first YouTube channel back then, which I will never tell you the name of because a German Minecraft Let's Play channel like everyone had, you will never find. If you somehow know that channel, bro, just keep it to yourself, okay? But yeah, that was 2012. I think I was 17 or something. We played like the early Minecraft beta. I did like a Let's Play, whatever. I got back into gaming. And eventually, fast forward a couple more years, I move out. And I live in my own apartment. And I start going to... I work. And I start going to this gaming bar. This is in Cologne, where I live now. Back then, this gaming bar was called Meltdown. And I know this is a huge wind-up to the story, but it will make sense. I start going to this gaming bar. One of my school... Because, okay, so in Germany, we have this thing called Ausbildung, where essentially you go to school, and then you also work at the same time. And you are basically trained specifically to be working in the job you're doing. But the school is teaching you too. It's an interesting system. Not every country has it. It's just what we do here. And I did that, and one girl in my school worked in this gaming bar and said, yo, you should go to this gaming bar. And I did. And at the time, I was mostly busy with work and school, so I didn't play as many video games, even though I was living by myself. Then I played some, like, League of Legends or something like that. But I still enjoyed games quite a lot. And this gaming bar brought me back strongly into playing video games, to the point that I also started streaming. This is in 2017. I started streaming League because League of Legends, that's what I was playing at the time. But one night I went to this gaming bar again, and later at night I had this conversation with this dude who was like, yo, are you looking forward for the new Mario game coming out tomorrow? This Mario game was Super Mario Odyssey. And because at the time I was kind of like not as chronically online, I was kind of not really in with all of the games coming out. I had seen it in some like E3 trailer, but I completely didn't have it on the radar. And one of my other favorite games growing up was Super Mario World on the SNES. I was like, okay, actually, you know what? I'm gonna check it out. Let's log onto Twitch, which I obviously knew was a thing because I just streamed League casually as a hobby. And I found somebody speedrunning the game. And I was like, oh, cool. I remember back in the day, one of my other friends had introduced me to Games Done Quick before, a big charity marathon for speedrunning, where they, for example, also speedrun Super Mario World. And I was like, oh yeah, this is like a cool thing. I like watching this. These people seem to be really good at games, and I enjoy them commentating those games. So I guess I'm watching a speedrun of Mario Odyssey now, even though I haven't even seen it casually. And I did, and I really liked it. I started watching it all the time, and basically was a big fan of it. And now something that I skipped, but it'll make sense in a bit, is that actually earlier in that year, 2017, when I was still already working on living in my own apartment, I had heard that Breath of the Wild came out, but I kind of didn't have time to really look into it, even though I remembered I loved Twilight Princess and I had skipped a bunch of Zelda games in the between the two, but maybe I had time to play again. And I remember watching some really early speedruns in 2017 from this guy called Icky-Trix, who back then had the records. He had like a sub. I think he was the first to beat it in under 40 minutes, any percent. So after getting into Odyssey and really starting to watch a lot of speedruns, I decided, okay, I'm gonna get a Switch again. I actually want to try out speedrunning myself. I did. This was around 2018, so again for my birthday, but this time for myself, not for my parents. I bought a console, this time it was the Switch, and I also bought Mario Odyssey. I played through it casually, and then learned the speedrun. There's a lot of details. Maybe I'll tell you my speedrunning story in a different video, which is kind of cool too. There's maybe tomorrow actually. So I'm gonna skip this for now. I got into the speedrunning scene, made a lot of friends, made cool memories, and started streaming more because I streamed my speedruns. And then one day in 2019, I was streaming a 24-hour stream. So if you watch Twitch streamers, sometimes they do the stupid thing where they stream 24 hours in a row. I don't like these streams anymore because honestly, it's better to do 2 12-hour streams and actually sleep in the middle, so the streams are entertaining. But I did one of those, and in the middle of the night, I kind of ran out of content. I didn't know what to play anymore, but one of my friends in chat, Minyash, said, yo, you should play Breath of the Wild. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I used to like Zelda games, but I have kind of already seen a speedrun, so I don't know how much sense it makes. But everyone was like, no. You should try it anyway. It's there's so much to do in the game, so much to explore. You're gonna like it. I was like, okay. I bought the game. I started playing it on that 24-hour stream. I played it for like 6 hours, and every single day afterwards on stream, I played Breath of the Wild. Casually. And I loved it. I played it a little bit off stream. Eventually, when I got like 50 hours in or whatever, I started looking up some stuff on YouTube about the game, and I got more YouTube recommendations about the game. Like, I remember like Austin John Plays telling you where shrines are, like little secrets or whatever. And then I also got a video recommended from Raz and Runs that was Breath of the Wild any percent in 29:59. And I was like, wow. I really went full circle from originally doing some stuff with Zelda games and like glitching around to getting into speedruns in 2017 and then forgetting about the game again until 2019 and then seeing that speedrun I recommended. And I watched that run and it was crazy. It had BTBs, bullet time bounces, which you don't see as much anymore now. It didn't have wind bombs, anything yet, but it had stasis launch. It was crazy, extremely well executed fights. And I was like, okay, I know how to speedrun now. I should try this. And so I did. I learned the speedrun. I really liked it. I did it every single day for multiple hours. I realized that there wasn't any good tutorials on the game on YouTube, so I recorded my own. And before I knew it, I was basically in the Breath of the Wild community. That was a very long-winded story to how I got here. I fell in love with the game and I have, like I said, like 6,000 hours or something at it now. But I skipped a lot of the parts that are specific about my speedrunning journey because there's some really cool stories, like me getting picked up from the airport by Siglamic, who was one of the OG speedrunners of Super Mario 64. And all of the GDQs I ended up going to after that being my initial introduction to speedrunning. So let me know if that sounds interesting to you. But this is, I guess, my... Oh my god, okay, apparently I even after all of the years, I still know how to wind bomb. Again, my excuse for this is... And some people ask why the top and bottom of this game is cut off, and I know it is. And it doesn't really work the way I want it to, but I'm just kind of going with it. Because it looks more cinematic. And a little bit different from my normal channel content, but... You know, I don't hate it, and now I'm just committed. I think it makes the game look a little different. But, yeah, I don't have the minimap because of this, so it just looks cleaner. And if you don't have the minimap, you don't necessarily always know if your wind bombs are going to work. Because if you know how wind bombs work, they only work in cardinal and ordinal directions. At least for the most part, with some variants. But there's some angles that result in a dead angle. Like you just saw there twice, where Link just doesn't launch. That being said, though, we've reached the 30% today. I told you guys my speedrunning story. No, my gaming Breath of the Wild story. If you want to know my speedrunning story, let me know in the comments. I appreciate you if you listen to all of this, because it was very long-winded. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'll be back tomorrow. Tears of the Kingdom, 144 days. Thank you for watching. Peace.